no matter what, everyone's gonna hit rock bottom, but everyone has their own different version of rock bottom. That's what I feel like a lot of people fail to realize. And an issue that people have is that when they're in their own version of rock bottom, they might see someone else and compare their situation, not knowing that that other person might be in their own version. And I say this to say that in life, I feel like when you hit rock bottom, it's a make or break moment. Sorry, ignore the cat. When you hit rock bottom, it's a make or break moment for the pure fact that you only have two choices. You crawl your way out of it, or you keep sinking. That's it. There's no in between. You can't sit in limbo. You can't sit in between and think no, because the time you spend not crawling out is the time that you will keep sinking. And with this, it goes to say that when you're at rock bottom, and I like to call it crossroad moments in life, because rock bottom exposes who you truly are as a person. It exposes if you really wanted the goal that you say you want to achieve, if you're really meant to be the person that you're meant to be, because as I said, you sink or you crawl out. And crawling out of rock bottom is definitely something that's not easy. Trust me, I've been at rock bottom, I'd say 3 different times in my entire life. And there's not one time that's easier than the other. It just doesn't get easier, but I made it out. And that's all that matters. A lot of people worried about when they're at rock bottom, they think, oh, well, they need to have a concrete plan and the light at the end of the tunnel is going to be millions and their whole successful life, but it doesn't work like that. As I said, when you're on rock bottom, you are challenged emotionally, physically, spiritually, and mentally. If you can make it out of that situation, you will 100 times out of 100 come out as a better person than you were left in there, So, to say this is to say, always fight for what you want and always keep crawling, because whether you spend 1,000 days at rock bottom, whether you spend 200, whether you spend a week, it doesn't matter. What matters is how much are you crawling through the day? How many times are you getting up? No matter the circumstance, and you're saying, yeah, I can do this. I can be this person. I'm going to work towards my goals. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. It comes with you as a person. I said in my last video, like, I don't know, 2-3 videos ago, there's times where I don't want to go to gym. I really don't want to go to gym. There's a lot of stuff I don't want to do, but because I've been in that rock bottom and I know what it takes to get out of there, I would rather go and do the things that I don't want to do to avoid being back in that situation, because that's what people don't realize. Once you get out of rock bottom, everyone gets comfortable, they get complacent. That's not how it works. You have to keep moving, because you will just fall back in. If you're stagnant after getting yourself out of rock bottom, and it's like you finally got some breathing space, and instead of acting on that, you just stand, the breathing space is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller until you're back in the same situation. You're back in the same cycle that you've been in for the past 5 years. And that's just the reality of it. And I'm saying this from pure experience. Like, there's time, the first time I ever was in rock bottom, I remember getting myself out and thinking, okay, cool, like, I'm alright now, this is good. I don't need to do nothing else. Like, I can just keep cruising at this level and it'll be fine. But that's not how it works, because rock bottom's like a vacuum. When you're standing there, yeah, it's sucking you in and it. Pause. But you get what I mean, like, it's pulling you, again and again. It's pulling you down and further down the more that you're standing there. So that's why I say you have to keep on moving, because no matter what, that, like, the pressure you feel in life is rock bottom, if that makes sense. And I'm going to describe that better. The pressure you feel in life is rock bottom, because rock bottom is always trying to pull you down. So when even if you're doing great in life, you might be making, I don't know, 100k a year, you've just started off in your new job or whatever it is, you're always going to meet roadblocks and you're always going to meet situations that make you think, damn, was this even worth it? Like, can I even be asked to do this? That's rock bottom pulling you back. Because at the end of the day, that's all it's meant to do. Rock bottom is not there to be your friend. It's not there to be a place of comfort. It's meant to be there to constantly remind you that, yo, your life can be much worse. And if you don't take that hint, you're going to suffer. You will suffer. And I've suffered myself for the pure fact of I've got myself out of rock bottom. I've stood there triumphant. I'm proud. I'm like, yes, I've done all this work. And then I just stopped. And the result of that was I just kept getting pulled further and further and further into this deep pit that didn't look like it had any bottom. And that's one thing, rock bottom doesn't have an end. Like, don't let anyone lie to you and say, oh, you can only hit rock bottom. It's the only ways. No, it can most definitely get worse. If you hit rock bottom and you think that's your rock bottom, I guarantee you it can get worse. And if you don't have the belief and the faith that it can get better, it will get worse. That's what people don't understand. That's why I don't like the statement when people say, oh, you're at rock bottom already, the only way is up. No, it's not. No, it's not. You can keep going down. You can make stuff worse for yourself. Don't get complacent in the idea that, oh, this is the worst situation I've ever been in, so it must get better. No, that's not how life works. That is not how life works. And I feel like that idea, that ideology, has made a lot of people think when they're in a bad situation in life, a lot of people don't like to put as much work as they need to into becoming better, because in their head they're thinking, well, this is the worst it's ever been, so it has to get better. But how? If you don't get up and do the work, if you don't put in the effort, if you don't have the belief, if you don't change your mindset, if you keep doing everything you've done to be at rock bottom, why would anything change? Why would it get better? You have to do better. The same way that you got into that position by doing these, whatever it was, if you keep doing that, you're going to keep going down in rock bottom. It's just simple as that. And I think that's a great note to end the video, because I don't really know what more to say on this other than don't get stuck at rock bottom. It can get worse. It really can get worse, so make sure you make it better.